everyone, it's Natalie Pieri here from Accounting Connections. I'm here to try and navigate your way through what government aids are currently available for small business owners. Right now, there's not a huge amount out there for the smallest of us business owners, but for those with business premises, there are some good things out there, and for us with employees there is some help available there. So really it's just about finding out what government aids are available to you at the moment, how you go about getting those, and then just generally as a business to try and get your way through this, how you can deal with managing your cash flow. So I mean, firstly we'll start off with statutory sick pay. Statutory sick pay is one of those statutory pay elements that doesn't actually get reimbursed by the government. It's not like your statutory maternity or adoption pay or paternity pay. Any of those kind of parental pays, as a small employer, you do get reimbursed those by the government. In fact, you get 103% of that payment back. But when it comes to statutory sick pay, you as a small business owner and you as an employer are required to self-fund that. So with the government telling us at the moment that, you know, people need to be in isolation if they feel that their health is at risk, or if they are symptomatic, or if somebody in their house is symptomatic, then they should be self-isolating for 2 weeks. And that's all fair and good for the government to tell us that, but unfortunately it means that us small business owners have to then fund it. And obviously it's going to be a hit on the cash flow because there's money going out and no money coming in. So what they've done, they've said, look, we realise that we're asking people to do the right thing by staying at home, and in compensation for that, the government have decided that they will help fund SSP in these specific cases. So your standard SSP, if somebody is off work sick, then you have 3 what they call waiting days. So the first 3 days of that sickness is unpaid. SSP then kicks in on day 4, and then they continue to get SSP so long as they can provide necessary doctor's notes, etc., for your personnel records. And again, like I say, that's self-funded. Under the emergency rules that have come in for COVID-19 coronavirus, it means that any employee that is off sick specifically for self-isolation of coronavirus, they're going to get paid SSP from day 1. So those 3 waiting days gone. So it's just from day 1 of sickness, they will get paid statutory sick pay, and the government will reimburse employers for the first 2 weeks of that pay. So whether you are, if you work 5 days a week, they will pay you 10 days. If you work 7 days a week, they will pay you 14 days, but it works out the same. It is a weekly rate. The only problem with that, as we see it at the moment, is practically, whereas with statutory maternity pay and your other parental pays, it will come off your liabilities at the end of the month. It will get added back to your liabilities, so you don't have to pay that all over to HMRC. At the moment, you are still having to fund SSP, and the actual mechanics for making a reclaim on the statutory sick pay that you've paid to employees self-isolating because of coronavirus will be given at a later date. So you'll have to pay it for now and reclaim it back later. So we really want to find out, hopefully in the Chancellor's announcement today, exactly how employers go about getting that money reimbursed as soon as possible to help with the cash flow. Oh, goodness me. Right, so after that, what have we got? Small Business Rates Relief Grant. So in the budget that came out on the 11th of March, Rishi Sunak, who's the Chancellor, he told us that if you are a small business that is entitled to small business rates relief, you will get a one-off government grant of £3,000. On the 17th of March, they then came out and said, you know what, £3,000 is not enough. We're going to give small business owners £10,000 one-off grant. Sounds amazing, and I guess it is, but at this precise moment in time, again, we don't have the mechanics. We haven't been told exactly how this money is going to come to us. We haven't been told how we go about reclaiming it. it is all just speculation at the moment. The expectation is, as it stands, that the money will be filtered from central government down to local authorities, and then local authorities will start contacting those people who are eligible so that they can make a reclaim. But again, it doesn't help us instantly because the money's not there right now. And even if you were to call your local authority, they would tell you the same thing. They're waiting on information from central government as to how this is exactly going to work before they can make any payouts. So how do you know if you're entitled to this one-off payment? And it is a one-off payment, it is a grant, it's not a loan, which means that you don't have to repay this money back. The money comes to you, that's it, you do what you want with it. Well, I say you do what you want with it. It's there really intended to help you through the period of economic uncertainty that we're in. It's going to help you pay your staff. So then the hope and the expectation from the government is that businesses who are entitled to this relief are probably employers, and they want you to retain your staff. So this is what they're giving you the money for, to help you fund that. So if you have a residential property, regardless if you're an owner or a renter, if you occupy a residential property, you pay council tax on that property. Everybody does that. When you then have a business premises, you are then, for that premises, you have to pay business rates. The amount of business rates that you pay depends on the size of the area that you're in, what kind of area it is, and the size of your business. So if you are, for example, in a serviced office, then the likelihood is that you are registered for business rates, and each year you're going to get a bill, not dissimilar to this one here. Okay, so on the business rates bill, it will say your charge for the year, and then it will also say small business relief. So here we've got £1,900 in a charge, and then the relief minus 1,900. So the bill itself is always going to come in at zero. You're going to get a bill every year that says zero. But what this bill does tell us is that you are registered with Medway Council at your business address, and that you are claiming small business relief. If you have this piece of paper, then you're good to go. You will be entitled to that one-off payout when the mechanics come out of how to reclaim it. Okay, what's next on the agenda? Right, so HMRC also realised that in this really tough economic time, everybody is still going to have their tax liabilities to pay. You know, if you're VAT registered, every quarter you're going to need to pay your VAT. If you employ people, you're going to have to pay PAYE. If you're self-employed, you've got income tax to pay. And if you're a company, you've got corporation tax to pay. All of these tax payments throughout the year, you can only so much put money aside. And in these tough times that we're facing, you may feel the need to dip into that fund to help fund your day-to-day business activities, use it for your working capital. And HMRC understand that. They want your business to continue to operate. Similarly, they're going to want their money because that's the tax that you owe. And as a result of that, they know that they are going to get inundated with phone calls of people saying, I physically, financially cannot pay my tax liabilities. What do I do? So they've set up this helpline right here. That's 0800 015 9559. If you call that number, then what they will do is they will,
I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah, lovely. The idea here is that you are proactive. So if you foresee that you are not going to pay your tax liabilities on time, call the number. Call the number and say to them, you know, coronavirus has hit my business very hard. I'm struggling to pay this on time. What options are there for me? What this will do is HMRC have now been given greater permissions to freeze interest, because if you are a late payer of any kind of tax, they will start charging you late interest. They may also start charging you fines. But if you're proactive and you tell them, they will stop that. They will also give you what's called a time to pay agreement. So you can say to them, I think I might be able to pay £100 a month for the next 3 months, you know, to clear this particular liability I've got. They will then help you put that payment plan in place, and so long as you meet that payment plan, then everything will be fine. But I mean, really, they just want you to be proactive. They're there, they're approachable, they are normal people. So just do speak to them. The worst thing you could do is ignore the letters, bury your head in the sand, and hope it'll all go away, because that really does not help anybody, and it will make the situation much, much worse. So the other thing the government are doing at the moment is something called business interruption loans. This is unlike the small business rates relief grant, this is a loan, not a grant. There is a big distinctive difference, and the distinctive difference is you have to pay this back. At some point in time, you will have to pay the loan back. So there is a bank, I believe it's called the British Business Bank, and they have been authorised by HMRC to issue loans to businesses at attractive interest rates, and you know, with less criteria to be financially accepted for them. These grants are then these loans are then there to help you through the tough period we're about to face, to pay the bills, to keep your business afloat, and then when we are over it, then you will be in the position to start repaying them back. So that is another good thing that the government have done, and that is available within the next week or so. Again, not instantly available. We were hoping that Boris Johnson was going to give us more in the way of financial information in his announcement yesterday, but unfortunately that didn't happen, and he in fact just passed the ball very quickly over to Rishi Sunak, who is going to be giving us an announcement this evening, and I'm hoping that that's going to give a lot more information. So obviously, if you can imagine, if you've got a business premises and you are claiming business rate relief, then in the near future you will receive this £10,000 grant, however it is that we end up having to reclaim that. But if you are a home-based business or a mobile business, then you don't have technically you don't have a business premises that is registered for business rates, which kind of leaves you in this awkward limbo position of, you know, I am a business owner, I'm running a business, but just because I don't have an office, I'm not getting any kind of financial help during this really uncertain time. So again, we are hoping in the announcement today, there is going to be some more measures put in place to help those kind of business owners. As it stands, we're just going day by day from the information we're getting on the announcements. Everything is being updated. I'm keeping all of my clients and close business contacts up to date with all of the announcements that are coming out. If you would like to be added to the list to receive my email at the end of every day after the announcement, then please do just email your information to info@aconnect.co.uk. I'll add you to our list, and you will receive the daily update the same as everybody else does. And like I say, fingers crossed that Rishi gives more this afternoon to the small business community than they have been giving. I mean, that's as much as there is for government aids. The only other thing that we need to do then is we need to start being sensible about our businesses and our cash flows. You know, review what is coming out of your bank account every month. Is everything essential? Are you tied into contracts with certain expenses? If you're not tied into contracts and they're not essential, get rid of them. Okay. All you can do at the moment is try and minimize what is being spent out of your business and maximize what is coming in. So that's, like I say, that's the way that you can minimize your outgoings. Maximizing your income, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be really difficult at the moment because everybody's in the similar boat, whereby they may have work that they've billed, and then the customers, the clients, they just don't have the money to pay. So there are options out there. I can put you in touch with certain people out there that can help you try and recover debt if that's the way you want to go about doing it. Alternatively, you can offer people payment agreements to see if you can get that cash flowing through your business a bit more. Really, it's about being proactive and adapting. If your business was based on, large groups of human interaction, then you need to try and adapt and move forward with your business in a virtual aspect. See if you can make money from virtually doing your job as opposed to doing it physically in person. Like I say, that's what this group was set up for, essentially to help each other through this time, to give the advice that's needed to people out there who don't have the ability or who didn't have the ability or knowledge to be able to take their businesses virtually. I mean, that really is going to be the way forward for the foreseeable future. Unfortunately, it is a really uncertain time, and we'll all have to see what we can do to get through it. But I don't know if there's any questions or anything that are coming through.
I've got a question for you.
Go on then.
So the first thing is, I think, have you got any predictions of what you think is going to happen later on today?
I believe that Rishi will give an SSP payment to the self-employed, to those people who aren't receiving business rates relief. I'm hoping that he will put in a like a statutory sick pay, but I'm hoping it's going to be above, because at the moment statutory sick pay is $94.25 a week. You can't really do a lot with $94.25 a week, let's be fair. So I'm hoping that there's going to be some kind of minimum earning level that's put in, and that you should be able to claim that, I'm hoping.
I think am I right in thinking that there's different amount of grants depending on what industry you're working in? So if you're in leisure and things similar, there's
that's right. So I mean, like I say, anybody receiving small business rates relief specifically will get the £10,000 flat rate. If your business, because to get small business rates relief, the rateable value of the business premises that you occupy needs to be less than £15,000. If your rateable value is between £15,000 and £51,000, then you can get a certain payout depending on what industry you're in. Like I say, if you're in a hospitality leisure industry, their payout is 25k if your rateable value falls in between those amounts. But regardless of your industry, if you get small business rates relief, you'll get 10,000.
And I guess that's the sort of thing that's going to be included in your email.
Absolutely.
And there'll be one of them tonight, so everything that's comes up will get comes up. So there's a few more questions come through. Mm-hmm. So can landlords get help? Simple as that. Can landlords
Okay, so at the moment, the only help that's out there for landlords is the 3-month mortgage break. As yet, we're still waiting to hear, and this was one of the main points I was hoping to hear last night, was whether you were then entitled to pass that break onto your tenants or not. Because obviously there are going to be a lot of people in the position where they're not going to be able to afford their rent. And if you're a landlord and you still have to pay the mortgage, then obviously, with coming back to cash flow, you've got no money coming in, but you've got a lot of money that's got to go out. So again, we're really, really hoping that Rishi gives us some clarity on this tonight, because I've got a number of landlord clients who are in the same position. They've got multiple tenants saying, I've lost my job. I don't know what money I've got coming in. There's no way I can pay my rent. So, yeah.
I hope that answers your question, Grace. If not, you need to be following that email chain and seeing what they say later on today.
Yeah.
I don't understand the first question. I'm hoping you're going to get it.
Go on then.
So, how do you account for grants in the books? I.e., is cash coming in, but we're not exactly invoicing for a service?
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, it depends on what system you're using, but essentially government grants come into your bank. They are classified as income, but they're a non-taxable form of income. So, because depends on if you're a sole trader or a limited company, but as a limited company, you pay corporation tax on your profits.
He uses zero and he's limited.
Oh, fantastic. Right. Okay. So in which case, on your bank reconciliation, instead of having to raise a bill, raise an invoice and then match it against that income coming in, you just use the create tab. You would create a contact called HMRC, and then there would be an income that you could put in, a line of income called government grants, and then when your accountant comes to doing your year end, they'll add that back in your corporation tax calculation so that it doesn't get taxed.
Wicked. I think that's all of the questions. What I would like to ask you though is just if people wanted to, obviously I've given your email in there already,
yeah,
but if there's any social channels that people can follow you on for information. I know you've been posting your blogs and
yeah
things.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Accounting Connections is at AConnect UK. Follow us. We're on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. So all four.
Natalie's also written some blogs for the Together website as well. So if you go onto the website, you can read through some of the stuff that's going on, and hopefully that will get updated as things change.
Absolutely, yeah. Like I say, we are literally living day by day at the moment. Even to the extent last night, we were hoping to find out the list of key workers. That didn't come out last night, didn't come out till this morning. So, you know, it really is hour by hour, day by day. And since Rishi is the Chancellor, we're hoping that tonight's announcement will be more financial based than last night's announcement from Boris, which was obviously more focused on infection rates and antibodies and tests, etc.
Yeah. The other question is basically about timescales, but I'm assuming that they're not really announcing anything about what the timescales are going to be for them grants coming in.
Well, absolutely. Like I say, I've been on the phone to Medway Council pretty much every single day trying to find out what the process is, and they're as clueless as the rest of us at the moment. They are just sitting there and waiting on information from central government. Until central government tells them what to do, they can't then do anything about it. But as soon as the information gets released on how businesses claim this money, then I will definitely be sharing that information and making sure everybody that I know gets it.
I think it's a hard one because from doing this group, I know that we've had to really quickly adapt to it. I'm sure everyone else in the same situation.
Absolutely.
Got to take it into consideration. The government doing the same, they didn't expect this to happen.
No.
So we got to give them a bit of slack.
Absolutely.
But, keep up to date.
Because there's a lot of red tape to cut through, and then there's a lot of mechanics and logistics that need to happen. They need to forward the money to the local authorities. The local authorities then need to identify who is eligible, and then how do they get the money to those people if they don't know anybody's bank details? They don't get payments from people because the bill is zero every year. So
The other thing someone just mentioned that most of Borough Council are apparently in the same position.
Absolutely. All of the local authorities are still waiting on information from central government.
They've got here in quotation marks, the word of the street apparently is early April. But that's nobody, I guess.
Absolutely, it's absolute speculation at the moment. Okay. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Natalie. If you have any questions, then I'm sure you'll have to ping a few of them.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then to make sure you follow that email chain. I think there's going to be some really interesting stuff on there over the next couple of days.